Today we're gonna pack some orders, and you guys are gonna hear a lot of noise here because we are in the basement. It's an open space. My husband is working, is printing on the on that side. Then we have the other machine over there that is making noise as well. It's kind of running and it's making noise. So hopefully you guys can hear me very well. But we're gonna pack orders. The first order is going to be for a returning customer. This order is going to be for the Keisha. She ordered the last 4 mini suitcases. She previously, like last week, she literally ordered 19 of these, and as soon as she got her order, she went and she put another order back. Hopefully it fits in this box. We're actually thinking in spending the space. We have a little room over there to my right, so we probably this week we're gonna be able to move and take the whole basement over by Niccolagio and Careware. Careware is our second business. We just opened it back in November, but we are actually putting in the work right now. We just opened the website. It's carewaredesigns.com. I'm gonna leave you in the screen the information so you can go and check it out. We are offering t-shirts, cups, budget binders, and we just brought cup coasters. I am gonna be able to show you that a little later, not right now. Today we're gonna focus on packing these orders so we can go and drop them off. I'm gonna open one of the mini suitcases. I am sold out on these suitcases, but just to show you what I am sending in this order. But this is how it looks like. Super cute. It has the little wheels, and then you can extend these how do you call this? Esto. El aso. Oh, the handle. You can extend the handle and it actually rolls. Here it is. One, 2, 3, and 4. Let me bring my little cart. That's the card that I use, that I have been using. I have most of my packing supplies there. I have packing supplies on this card, and then I have more packing supplies on that wall, and then in the back I have more boxes and packing supplies. So hopefully when we expand the area, we're able to have a whole corner just for packing purposes. Mainly for packing, so we have everything on this like in our hands, and we don't have to go to another like side of the room to gather our stuff. So this is for the Keisha. We're gonna put 1, 2, 2. Thank you. This, thank you for coming back. It's going to be over here. And I'm gonna send her a discount code for our new website. So she can go and check if something
Yeah.
if something catches her eyes. Okay, business cards. We're gonna put this over here. There you go. Thank you so much. Niccolagio went viral on YouTube, and that was like a blessing for us because I haven't been really working on my business. I haven't been focusing on my business, but thanks to one video on YouTube, I have been having a lot of orders. These are some of the orders that we got, and we got monetized. After 4 years, we actually had the opportunity to start monetizing on ads, to have revenue from the views and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that I would like to share with you guys. But we're gonna finish this order so I can go to the post office. Next order is going to be for Miss Danielle. And everything is here. I just made this bracelet for her. This is a snake print. Faux leather. I used to say fox leather, but it's faux leather.
What is it?
Faux leather?
Faux leather.
Faux leather. Okay. And we're gonna put this on this little package. Oops. There it is. I hope she likes it. This is the bracelet for her keychain. There is her keychain. One, there he goes, 2 and 3. I used to put all of this in envelopes, but I ran out of envelopes and I haven't been able to find the same ones that I used to use. So I'm gonna keep looking. Okay, we're gonna put Happy Mail. Baby, and then niccolagio over here. There you go. Thank you so much, Danielle. Oye. Wow, se ve bien bonito. So this is going to be the car coasters, some of the car coasters that we're gonna have for the markets, and we're gonna put actually this also, we're gonna put it on the website on careworthysigns.com. This, it looks pretty nice. It's a coaster.
No, the
well,
design.
You can see that it's what it is. It's like engines or tools, right?
Turbos, pistons.
I can see here a rim and what else? Turbos. What else?
Spark plugs.
Okay.
And your intake.
Okay.
Piston. What is it?
Nice. Está bien bonito. We are going to attend to marketplaces. We already went 2 times to one mall, and we went to one brewery. And the next one is going to be in a school. next Saturday. So we are super excited about it. We have bought more t-shirts, more colors of t-shirts. We yesterday I was working on designs while I was in my break on my full-time job. Jonathan is working today on printing the designs that I did yesterday for t-shirts and mainly for cups. And since the cup coasters, or car coasters, either or, are something new to us, he had that design in mind like for weeks, and we finally did it. O sea, it's the next day and I am trying to record and I'm looking for my tripod and my ring light. Couldn't find it. Now I found it. So apparently a doll is more important than me recording something for my business. Let me show you what I found. My husband is doing a time lapse for the dough that he's growing, and it's been recording for almost 5 hours. I am gonna go and make some boxes. That's the only thing I can do. I'm gonna be working with the padding. I'm gonna cut padding that I have available to sew more bracelets for the website and the market, for both websites actually. And this is the padding that I use. What? Something that I forgot to mention here is that I use the fusible fleece balloon in the number 987F. That's what I use to make my bracelets as an interface. You can find that type of material in Joann's, in Hobby Lobby, at Michael's. They also have that in Walmart, Amazon, but I found that Joann's has more promotions or more offers than the rest of the stores. In this video, we were working during the nighttime. That is the best time for us to work because we have no interruptions from the kids or from nobody else. And we were working here on cups. We have some designs that we needed to print and press. And if you see the top shelf, like right there, I put all the cups and mugs that we have. We don't have as many cups, as many cups as you will think. It's not like in social media. It's not what you see on social media. So please, if you are just starting out, don't hesitate. Don't let what you see on social media keep you hold you back from starting a business or from continuing a business. Just be creative, have fun, and if you only have one cup, sell the cup, invest the money, and you can buy 2 cups and sell those 2 cups, and so forth. This is the first one. It's all strawberry for the spring. Super cute. I need to take one. Here you will only see 2 designs, but we actually did about 6 or 7. But we had a lot of fun. We were making errors and having a lot of fun at the same time. And look at this cup. This is the next one. Beautiful. It's 1:30 in the morning and I am gonna finish the video right here, right now, because everybody's sleeping and we already did a lot in 2 days. So if you like this type of video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, visit my websites, ChevaDesigns.com and niccolagio.com for all your self-defense necessities. And I am going to take my soup out of the microwave, so I can finally eat. Here is my ramen soup out of the microwave. I'm gonna put some rocoto, an egg, and lime. No.
I'm putting my cereal in the microwave.